Have you been searching for that next level upgrade? Ready to invest into something that is in it for the long haul? Well, look no further than the composited innovations provided by Prime. These customly crafted pieces are handmade by former Jason Johnson Racing car chief and Prime owner-operator Clyde Knipp. Prime Composite Innovations is located centrally in Missouri and is looking to provide that big-time performance at a fraction of that big-time price. For additional information, visit prime-composites.com today to see what they have to offer, as well as their stable of current full-time drivers that trust Prime with their ride. For the future of innovations, with the properly composited type, you can depend, move forward, and rely on Prime. That is this scenario right here. Sports betting. After this seemingly harmless conversation we saw with Michael Rigsby, head honcho of Flow Racing, and Brad Sweet about going to Perth, nothing wrong with Perth at all. They bring up gambling and how you will be able to sports bet on high-limit sprint car racing action beginning next year. And they alluded to it being the same platform as the USAC series as they use it right now, which I don't know if that's necessarily the best. There's obviously a lot of different sports betting apps out there. You got your DraftKings, you got your FanDuels. Heck, I do some sports betting here and there. I'm relatively successful, I'll say. I think I'm in the green, just like the bottom right of your screen. I made sure it was green because that's where it's all located. But the main difference I would say between betting on this dirt track racing thing versus betting on the NFL or NCAA or NBA or any of these major leagues is there's a lot of rules and regulations. And I think my comment is in here, but I did make a comment on, it might not have been this post, but I posted it somewhere in there. But there's a lot of people, it's like a 75-25 split on people liking it and some people not liking it. But I made a joke post. I called it a joke, but it's not a joke. I said, so now there's going to be more money in losing a race than there will be in winning one. And I said, let's just say a prop bet comes out, which is what most people want. A prop bet that says Brad Sweet will finish, his over-under is 5th, for instance, in the main event. So if somehow, some way, Brad Sweet's running 3rd, pulls off the track and says power steering was wrong and went out, and somebody put $100,000, $200,000 on Brad Sweet to finish under 5th, they just made a lot of money. And I talked to Cody Summer, and I got to give Cody Summer, promoter, creator of the Gateway Dirt Nationals. I got to give him some credit after our criticism of his shows or of his event over the last few episodes. He texted back and said he enjoyed the content. He enjoys the opinion. You got to give credit. There's not too many people who can put their ego of their baby off to the side and listen to what people have to think. But Cody Summer, of course, is a part of starting up Dirt Draft, that Dirt Draft that everybody loves to talk about, rant and rave about. I believe it was him, Jacob Nord, and another investor that started up Dirt Draft. And when we had our interview with Cody Summer, we've had 2 of them, actually. When we had it last year before the Gateway Dirt Nationals, I do believe it was, we started into the topic of actually gambling, because dirt draft and real draft gambling is very similar. It's out there as well, not just the prop bets, but drafting a team just like you would on dirt draft. And that competition, instead of paying points for a T-shirt or some free tickets, it's paying money in positions to win. Instead of points, it's money. And he went into the subject and talked about how the regulation in our sport is just not there to kind of combat the possibility of somebody making some kind of backhanded, set up gig deal where, they're fixing the race to profit in a gambling scenario. I mean, 100,000 on Brad Sweet to finish the under. That's going to pay more than any event out there, and there's people with money who can actually make those bets. There's people who make those amount of bets and lose. We see it in combat sports. We saw, how Drake put $100,000 or $500,000 on Mike Tyson to beat Jake Paul. We all saw that as a fake situation, right? Apparently, they're going to start allowing people to begin gambling on WWE here shortly. And we know that is a 100% scripted event. But it's in that entertainment category, right? And I think that's what they're seeing here is sprint car racing's in that entertainment category. And it's definitely not as fixed or falsified as wrestling, is it? Probably isn't as falsified as Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, but it's pretty damn close. That'd be like, Mike Tyson losing to Jake Paul would be like me losing to that Brian Hubert guy. It would have never damn happened. But regardless, this is a situation where regulation is heavily needed if this sport is going to get into the gambling departments and elements of this whole entire world. I get the pleasure or the hope that maybe it'll bring in new fans who just want to potentially wager and make some money. But in other sports, there's a lot of things. For example, I had the NFL here in a summary of the NFL's gambling policy, education, and integrity monitoring efforts. This is a detail on 2024 NFL gambling policy. 6 main rules for all NFL players. This is for the players alone. Includes, it says never bet on the NFL. Includes other NFL events such as draft, combine, Pro Bowl, and NFL honors. That makes sense, right? Don't have someone place a bet for you. We kind of get that. Don't gamble, it says. No bets on sports, casino, or card games at your team facility while traveling or for a road game or staying at a team hotel. So, like, if your team's staying at a hotel and they got a casino, don't even go down there and play. Like, so these are some of the things that have they trained? I mean, their literal, like, show-offness of their series is high limit. They got they got people at card tables, for their ads and shit. It says, don't share team inside information. And see, this is the, how are you gonna regulate this, ladies and gentlemen? You're gonna make sure that these old boys don't share team inside information. So you're telling me some damn crew member who ain't making jack shit to begin with, hates his life on the road, would do anything to quit it and just go live in a damn hut somewhere in Puerto Rico, ain't potentially going to share some team information to make a considerable amount of money, ain't going to say, whoever's setting that tire pressure on that tire ain't going to make a mistake that the crew chief will yell at him for later that he already, probably gets yelled at twice the time anyway. He's going to make that mistake that one time, but his friend of a friend of a friend knew he had to make that certain bet, and he knew that he wasn't going to win the race, and he had to set that tire pressure a certain way. So this is just going to be so intricate on, and once again, this is like stuff that proper sports do when they get into the gambling departments. Don't enter a sport book during the NFL playing season. That's another rule. Don't play daily fantasy football. So dirt draft. You can't have dirt draft on your phone, even though it's not for real money. Fantasy football, period. NFL mandated training for all players, veterans, and rookies in 2024. In-person gambling policy and education training is now mandatory for all players. The education and training, prepared in collaboration with the NFL Players Association, reviews the rules and reinforces integrity provisions in the policy, including the 2 key rules: never bet on NFL games and do not gamble. while the team is in a facility, like we said before. Education and training is presented to the players, typically at the team facility, by a member of the NFL's compliance team. So they got a team to make sure this is all, these are so many. We don't even have proper insurance, really, for our drivers or anything, or health care or nothing. And we're just going to fucking take 10 or 20 steps up to gambling. Okay. By a member of the NFL's compliance team, the team's head of player engagement, often a former player, or by other former NFL players using the trainer approach. Unbelievable. See, this is what we do. Club training and education for players. Kind of skip that. Integrity monitoring efforts in 2024. There's an NFL integrity representative, typically retired FBI/executive level police officers assigned to each team. Their role is the following: monitors for suspicious activity on site on game days and lies with local alliance. I believe it's like an alliance with local law enforcement, regulators, and NFL security. Supports investigations related to potential violations of the NFL gambling policy and other integrity related policies and procedures. Serves as an additional resource to clubs and players for gambling or integrity related questions and issues for every NFL game. It says third-party monitors review and alert odds, lines, movements, and betting activity that may indicate game manipulation or a leak of non-public information. Alerts are made in real time, game day, weekly, and season reports provided. So look at this, the NFL Global Security Operations Center. Like, they have all these things to protect the integrity of the game, to protect the legitimacy of placing these bets, so that these things cannot be manipulated, because they understand there is millions and billions and billions and billions. There's probably trillions of dollars moving in the sports gambling industry every year. Hell, they could probably pay off the deficit, for crying out loud. But does sprint car racing have anything, or anything in dirt racing have anything close to this? And this is what Cody was relating to. I don't think they do.